Well, I'm delighted to be able to talk with you about professional learning versus professional development today, and to give you an opportunity to understand the subtle but not so subtle difference between the two, and to understand why in Kentucky we're attempting to move more and more practice toward professional learning. So when I think about professional development, I immediately think about our focus on all of the activities that we engage in that are designed to do the development. So for example, we plan days of learning for educators periodically through the school year. In Kentucky, we typically have 4 of those in school systems, and some have more. And a good deal of effort and planning goes into designing those days and to focusing on the kind of experiences educators will have. And we call those professional development days because the activity going on during those days is professional development. And so what we're trying to do is to shift away from focusing so much on the design of those learning experiences and shift our focus to learning, the learning that occurs during those experiences that allow educators to think differently about their own practices, to gain knowledge and skills, to alter and think about their dispositions and practices that influence what occurs for students. So when we talk about the term professional learning, we're focusing less on what we're doing to promote learning and begin to think about the kind of learning expectations we have and learning outcomes. And our work also shifts away from those individual or isolated opportunities for learning and become more focused on the long-term practices that occur over time. So rather than just focusing on a professional development day, what we really want to do is to begin to think about what is it that we expect educators to learn as a result of engaging in a day-long experience? What learning do we want them to take away, and how will that learning influence their practice in their role, and how will that change in practice help students perform better? So if we use a frame of thinking about the learning that we want to occur, shift it away from an isolated event or an occasional episode of learning, and focus on the long-term learning and development that we want to occur, then we can begin to think about professional learning as a continuous process, a process that never starts and stops. It's just continuous. That a part of an educator's responsibility every single day is to be engaged in learning that helps that educator think differently about his or her own work, to analyze practice, to use evidence of what occurs in classrooms and schools, and to be able to think about how to improve his or her own individual practice in order to affect student learning. And our focus becomes less on what we're doing on any particular day or a particular course that we're experiencing or a conference that we're engaged in, and gives us an opportunity to look at how all of those particular opportunities combine together to become a collective set of learning opportunities. So professional development is an episode or an event that focuses primarily on what we're doing to promote learning, while professional learning focuses on the outcomes of that learning. What is the learning that's taking place? How are we engaging people in a process that actually promotes their learning beyond a knowledge and awareness level, beyond just a skill acquisition, but actually to move it toward practice? So here's a great example. We have new standards. We have new Common Core standards for college and career readiness, and in Kentucky, we've been advancing the ELA and math standards, and soon we'll be working with new science standards. And we might engage educators, teachers and principals, as well as central office staff in occasional opportunities to learn about the standards, to learn how those standards are connected to the curriculum that is used, and to learn how students will demonstrate their learning. But attending those individual events is insufficient alone to promote educator practice changes. We need to add to it opportunities to look at lesson plans, look at student work, receive coaching and feedback. And together, all of those are a process of learning. And that's what professional learning is. It's more than the day. It's a continuous, ongoing process of looking at how we change, adapt, and grow as educators.